Human rights are the fundamental rights inherent to every person, regardless of race, color, gender, religion, political opinion, property, national or social origin, or other status. Labor rights are human rights. They include the right to work, to just and favorable conditions of work, to a fair remuneration, to equal pay for equal work, and to form and join trade unions. Human rights are universal and inalienable. No one can voluntarily give them up, nor can others take them from individuals. The United Nations Human Rights Council endorsed in 2011 a set of global guiding principles for business designed to ensure that companies do not violate human rights in the course of their transactions, and that they provide redress when infringements occur. The United Nations Guiding Principles on Business and Human Rights operates on 3 levels. Governments have a duty to protect against human rights abuses by third parties, including enterprises, through policies, regulation, and adjudication. Companies have the responsibility to respect human rights and address adverse impacts with which they are involved. Effective remedy should be available to the affected stakeholders when human rights injuries occur. UN guiding principles acknowledge that at the international level, businesses are responsible not only for their own activities, but also for those of their supply chain partners. They therefore recommend companies to carry out human rights due diligence with the aim of assessing and preventing human rights risks in the business operation and its supply chain. It also follows from the principles that businesses' responsibility exists independently of states' abilities or willingness to fulfill their human rights obligations. If governments fail to meet this responsibility, companies are expected to respect human rights to the greatest extent possible and to be able to demonstrate their efforts to do so. The UN guiding principles have already inspired mandatory regulations in the European Union, France, Germany, the Netherlands, and the UK to prevent human and labour rights abuses by companies applying to their global value chains, to the extent of opening up the possibility of appealing to national courts for violations committed by their subsidiaries or subcontractors abroad. This means that unions can use domestic legislation that exists at the company's head office location to enforce labour rights in places where they have branches or from which they regularly source.